This is Hitoyoshi, and his placia dump so filthy it could make angels weep. One ordinary day, out of nowhere, a stunningly beautiful maid shows up at his door, asking if she can work for him. The shock nearly paralyzes him. Could this be a fateful encounter? He invites her inside his pigsty with a shaky excuse. His parents are away, so the mess is unavoidable. Let's get to know this charming lady. Her name is Juki, a top-tier assassin. But why on earth would she want to be a servant for Hitoyoshi? He wonders if she's serious or just messing around. Part of him suspects she might be some shady dealer, and thinks about kicking her out immediately. When he asks about her skills, Juki innocently replies that her job mostly involves assassination, eliminating traitors of her master. She came here because her master recommended it. Hitoyoshi is stunned, like a scene straight out of a movie. Suddenly, he realizes that the more beautiful a girl is, the more dangerous she can be. He considers inviting her to stay, but Juki reveals their connection. Hitoyoshi is the nephew of a woman living in the second branch of the family tied to his master's wife. Hitoyoshi can't quite place who this is, but it's definitely some distant relative. To be sure, he asks about her assassination work and wants her to show off. So they step into the garden, and in a blink, Juki pulls out hidden weapons, flips with breathtaking grace, and hurls knives straight into a tree trunk. Hitoyoshi nearly jumps out of his skin. This is no ordinary human, but a demon in disguise. She's clearly passionate about her job, and even looks thrilled to demonstrate her deadly skills. Usually she'd take out a target with a single silent strike, but here she's putting on a show just for him. Hitoyoshi sits shaking, thinking if he ever displeases her, it might be the last thing he does. Luckily, he's got no enemies and doesn't need a killer at his beck and call. Besides, he doesn't even know who her master is. Hearing this, Juki feels a bit down, but accepts it. She's a good kid, despite being an assassin, and even greets him politely before leaving. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi feels guilty. The poor girl wonders what she's hoping for, an assassin with no contract, lost and unsure where to go next. Suddenly, she hears Hitoyoshi calling her back. He's coming to return a hairpin she dropped, but in his haste he crashes headfirst into a car. With lightning reflexes, Juki leaps to save him. Thankfully, neither is hurt, but her face shows genuine worry and concern, touching his heart. It turns out this is her first time saving someone directly, and her heart races from the adrenaline and mystery of it all. Hitoyoshi hands back the hairpin and accompanies her as she leaves. But just 2 seconds later, he changes his mind. He needs someone to clean up, and asks if she can do that. Soon, they're back at his house discussing her weapon collection. Legend says the knife is humanity's first tool of death, simple to use but deadly effective, capable of ending a life with a single strike. Suddenly, Hitoyoshi feels like a fool for inviting an assassin to live with him. He clarifies that from now on, her only job is cleaning, and that's more than enough. Juki, a bit dazed, thinks he means killing and hurriedly explains that's just assassin slang. Cleaning here means tidying the house, pointing at the huge bags of garbage. At first, I thought this place was some sort of morgue, but now, even if it feels a bit dangerous, since men saved me, I don't see her as a villain. Understanding the situation, the innocent girl asked if she could stay if she did her chores well. The problem was, she had never touched anything besides her weapons, so she was pretty clumsy. Feeling useless, she even apologized, fearing she'd be kicked out, but men gave her a chance. Though she didn't do much right, her assassin skills were top-notch. She slipped, but somehow didn't fall. Seeing her older sister looking sad, Hitoyoshi comforted her, blaming himself for giving her unfamiliar tasks too soon, and even making her wipe him down so harsh. That kindness instantly won her over, since no one had ever treated an assassin that way. He promised not to kick her out and to help her improve. After some guidance, they both cleaned the living room. Hitoyoshi thanked the lovely girl, which made her really happy. When it was time to eat, she asked the maid if she knew how to cook. Seeing that sad puppy face, it was obvious she didn't, so no surprise there. The young man let her bathe first, while he planned to figure things out on his own. In the bathroom, Juki kept thinking about Main's words. Who would have thought such kindness existed in this world? Outside, the guy waited, hoping to see his beautiful sister in a stunning look, but no, she still wore that original outfit. As for chopping vegetables, men took charge since no one else wielded a knife like her. With just one breath, Juki sliced cabbage perfectly, beaming with joy at completing the cabbage hunt mission. Next up was instant miso soup and some quick snacks. No time to cook everything, especially since Hitoyoshi didn't know much either. He asked Juki if she'd ever tried tonkatsu soup. She said no, being a top assassin only focused on work food was just fuel to survive. In her eyes, taste and presentation were meaningless. Hearing this, he excitedly promised that eating tonkatsu would change her world. This dish came from a 60-year-old restaurant, a pride of the town, known for tasty yet affordable meals, making it Main's go-to when hunger struck. No wonder the house was full of empty wrappers. It was all from those food boxes. Juki listened innocently to the introduction but remained indifferent, not grasping the excitement. At first, the girl invited the young master to eat it all, but he refused. Hitoyoshi split the meat into 2 portions for the adorable maid, treating her like family. Together, they enjoyed tonkatsu with rice and miso soup cooked by the young man. Juki tried it but found no flavor at all, from meat to rice to soup. Maybe the assassin's life dulled her taste buds. Yet, recalling past memories, she sensed a slight difference because this meal was made by Men herself, making it warmer than usual. When asked if it was tasty, she lied just to make him happy. Seeing Men smile like that, Juki didn't yet understand what kind of power this was, just that Men felt warmer than even the bath and food. The young man arranged a room upstairs for the super maid. It wasn't cleaned yet, but just changing the sheets and pillowcases made it livable. In truth, she didn't need much, just a place to stay was enough. Seeing the young master prepare a room for her, she felt grateful. Watching the innocent girl eat tonkatsu without the special sauce, he guided her to add it. To their surprise, her taste buds returned, awakened by Main's sincerity. She'd never had a dish make her feel this thrilling, to the point words failed her. Her mind began to savor the special sauce crafted by the Kuda family. Night fell, and Hitoyoshi found himself crying a lot, as if something was strangling his heart. He'd had nightmares like this before, waking up sobbing uncontrollably. Looking at the clock, it was only 3 a.m., and his stomach was growling. Usually, he kept instant noodles downstairs, so he went to grab some. Unexpectedly, he heard strange noises and thought about the assassin maid. Nervous, fearing something bad had happened, he peeked in. Juki had changed into pure white pajamas, looking ghostly, but on closer look, she was adorable. Having tasted that magical sauce earlier, she sneaked down to eat some more. After a few seconds, she realized what she was doing and apologized, worried it was precious to the young master. He didn't blame her, and felt relieved knowing she wasn't up to anything shady but just hungry like him. Men even planned to make noodles for both of them. Strangely, Juki said if she had to die tomorrow, her greatest wish would be to taste that sauce one last time. This line sparked a new idea for a light meal. The young man pulled everything from the fridge for her to dip in the sauce, and the maid's joy was undeniable. Whatever she dipped, it didn't matter. Later, Juki asked about his nightmares, which caught him off guard. She explained that when she sneaked down earlier, she heard him moaning. At first, she feared an assassin attack, and grabbed weapons to check. Finding nothing but his tears embarrassed him, not wanting a girl to see his weakness. She added that while half asleep, he kept calling Mom repeatedly. Surprisingly, Juki also dreamed of talking to the tonkatsu sauce, which promised to last a lifetime. Just as things got intense, she woke up, shattering that beautiful dream. Hitoyoshi was speechless, unsure what to say. That was the best dream he'd ever had, compared to his usual blood-soaked nightmares that left him numb. He wanted to dream it again, to taste that giant sauce's flavor once more. Hearing him cry made Juki a little sad, unsure how to comfort him. His heartfelt words made her happy. She shared that she was abandoned by her mother too. Hitoyoshi had a brilliant idea for a late-night snack. He rummaged through the pantry to gather everything for a delightful dip. The maid's eyes sparkled with joy at the sight of the sacred sauce. What to dip in it? That hardly mattered. Moments later, Juki asked about the nightmare he had. Honestly, it was a surprising question. The maid explained that while sneaking down for a midnight snack, she heard him groaning. At first, she thought a killer was attacking, so she grabbed her weapons to investigate, but the only thing she found was him, crying profusely. Hearing this, Hitoyoshi felt embarrassed to have shown such vulnerability to a girl. The maid added that in his sleep, he had repeatedly called out for his mother. Surprisingly, Juki had a dream too, one where she was conversing with a giant bottle of sauce, which boasted it was so large that she could lick it for a lifetime without worrying about finishing it. But just as things were getting exciting, he woke up, and with that, he shattered his beautiful dream. Hitoyoshi was left speechless, unsure of how to respond. Additionally, this had been the most beautiful dream he'd ever had. Previously, he only dreamt of blood and gore. Even when he woke up, he didn't feel the same as he did today. He longed to dream that dream again, to taste the flavor of that oversized bottle of sauce. Speaking of Hitoyoshi's tears, the maid felt a bit sad, unsure how to comfort him. Listening to the heartfelt confessions made her quite happy. She recounted how she had been abandoned by her mother. Whenever she encountered a nightmare, her mother would let her rest her head on her lap. Hearing this, Juki offered her a comforting gesture, but it was declined, as that was something she only did when she was little. Now that she had grown up, it felt inappropriate to her. The maid pondered negative thoughts, wondering if she was born only to kill. Just when it seemed like her spirit was crumbling, Hitoyoshi unexpectedly lay down, encouraging her to pull herself together. "You're already addicted to this," he said lightly. Juki called out to him and eased him into sleep, though perhaps that was impossible given how wide awake he was. Having spent a few days together, Juki often thought about the moment she saved him. Her heart felt like it was about to burst. Adrenaline coursed through her like never before. She had never felt anything like it, not even when facing dozens of enemies. It was as if her body moved on its own, leaving her to wonder what it was about Hitoyoshi that made her act so instinctively. When she woke up, she was pleased to find the house organized. Through her efforts, Juki had minimized the clutter significantly. Hitoyoshi expressed his gratitude, relieved that their home would no longer be messy. As they stepped outside to throw away the trash, they were surprised to discover an adorable dog left at their doorstep, accompanied by a note that read, "Please take care of it." Hitoyoshi was at a loss for words, while the maid read the previous owner's letter and learned that they thought this breed of dog was a mix. But the more it ate, the bigger it grew, making it impossible to keep at home. The family seemed wealthy and wanted to entrust the dog to someone else. Hearing this, Hitoyoshi nearly lost her composure. There was something irritating about the tone. What if her own house couldn't keep it either? Poor pup! The boy picked it up to take a closer look, and the sister asked if they would keep it. Of course, they couldn't just abandon the little guy. On this sweltering day, relying on experience, the sister guessed the dog was just big in size but still very young, unlikely to survive more than a few days. Juki had a different view. Though still young, it might survive. She saw herself in this pup abandoned as a child, treated like an animal. This was survival instinct. Sometimes, saving a life out of pity only leads to tragic ends. This poor dog was left behind because that was its fatale life, unwanted by anyone. Without growing stronger through its own strength, it would inevitably collapse in the wild. Hitoyoshi warned that rescuing lives recklessly out of mercy only brings future burdens. The boy asked if he could bear the consequences. He didn't grasp the deeper meaning in her words. Juki's message echoed her own painful past, but this was a dog, so the comparison was a bit off. After being saved by her the day before, Hitoyoshi felt grateful, not pitied. When a life can be saved right in front of you, your body acts before your mind catches up. That's pure human instinct. Hearing this, her mind lit up, so that overwhelming feeling was the instinct of a retired assassin. Hitoyoshi, also abandoned once, deeply understood the dog's emotions. So, she decided to take care of it for a few days. Who knows, maybe it would find a new owner. Inside, the young man found the pup fascinating, round and playful, even a bit cute. Wanting to share this joy, he took it to the maid, but she was far away and even refused to come closer. Then he realized that although she was an assassin, she was actually afraid of dogs. What a twist. This embarrassed her. Being afraid of dogs, especially in front of others, felt a little humiliating. Honestly, her expression now was even cuter than the goofy dog's pouts. Curious, the young man asked why she was so scared. She revealed that as a child, her so-called master had left Juki alone on a mountain with 7 fierce wolves. The psychological scars were deep. Understanding this, Hitoyoshi realized raising this pup wouldn't be easy. It was a tough task. She felt a bit down too, knowing she herself wasn't much easier to care for than the dog. Life was full of challenges. Apologizing to the young master for feeling useless, she confessed her only wish was for the little one to find a true home somewhere free from loneliness. Despite knowing how scared she was, the young man asked her to endure just a bit longer, hoping Hitoyoshiko would understand his heart. She agreed to hold the pup, curious if it would be okay. The result? Well, it left Hitoyoshiko utterly speechless and the boss scared of the young master. She assured him the pup was gentle and wouldn't bite. No sooner had she said that than the chubby dog snapped at her hand, making Juki jump like she'd been reincarnated into a chaotic world. To Mien, the pup looked no different than a mochi cake puffing up in the oven. Hearing this, the maid was shocked because in her eyes this creature had fierce fangs, sharp claws, and the piercing gaze of a predator. Truly, a destructive combo for anyone afraid of dogs. Juki even considered tossing the pup far away. Luckily, Mien stopped her just in time. After this ordeal, the poor maid was probably frightened for 3 lifetimes. She apologized for her weakness, despite the young master's request. Not long after, the young man himself got bitten once, realizing the pup was just itching its teeth. On the way to buy food, the pair also stopped by the vet to check on the pup and gather the supplies needed to properly care for it. Finally able to take the pup home, they stepped inside, where everyone stared at the beautiful maiden, the dog, who was already acting like a comedian. She was asked to pick out some quality items to spoil the pup, who was so happy it trembled with joy. By evening, the little one was confidently walking down the street. Hitoyoshiko thanked the maid for trying her best on her behalf. On the flip side, Dewey saw the young man's innocency, a kind-hearted soul rare in a world of assassins. Having survived a harsh place where failure was forbidden, the maid felt a vast distance when treated with kindness. For Juki, it was simple, just follow orders. But for Mien, who'd never done this before, things were complicated, leading to many failures. Yet, Hito Yoshiko never reprimanded her, though the weight on Mien's heart grew heavier. She longed to be useful to Mien, to earn the right to exist in a brutal world that was like a game where only the strong survived, no matter age or gender. Those who wished to survive, like her, endured indescribable hardships. But living under the same roof as the young man was different. Despite many limitations, Hito Yoshiko had never been scolded. She wondered if she too, rescued like the pup from a dark past, could feel warmth and become what Mien dreamed of. Could she stay here? Did this human world need someone like her? As she pondered, the pup tugged her away, looking clumsy but surprisingly strong. The young man cheerfully responded when the maid mentioned wanting to quit her old job to live a normal life. That would be wonderful, he said. She'd never thought of that before because killing had been her only value for survival. Yet now, Mien spoke of abandoning it all to live as an ordinary person. She secretly wished for a place meant for her. The young man admitted he was scared at first, after all. Who expects a real-life assassin? But after days together, he saw a kind soul beneath. This brought back memories for Mien of her childhood, before she lost everything. She asked the young master to teach her how to be normal. That was a tough question to answer, but the clearest sign was her frequent failures at work as a normal person would expect to have. There was no shame in that. The next day, while the pup lounged in the cool shade like royalty, Juki had to learn how to chop vegetables like a regular person. Thanks to her super knife skills, it wasn't too hard, just needed focus. Suddenly, the pup popped out to scare her, making Juki jump. How could a killer like her be caught unawares from behind? She suspected this dog wasn't normal. Looking closer, she saw it was trembling not from fear, but hunger. Somehow, Juki understood the pup's feelings, a survival skill of ordinary folk. The creature seemed genuinely gentle. She reached out to pet it, just as Hito Yoshiko returned, so the pup stopped. Mien happily fed it for her, while the dog eagerly devoured every bite. No wonder the pup was chubby, probably part of the reason it had been abandoned and starved. With such a mix of leftovers, what wallet could keep up? The young man named the chubby pup Mochi. Seeing the maid master, her new vegetable slicing skills made him smile, and she was visibly pleased. Since he still had other work, he asked her to play with Mochi, helping her live a more normal life. Hito Yoshiko confirmed the pup was very gentle, so there was nothing to worry about. Yet, in her eyes, Mochi was still a fierce beast. Her fears hadn't fully vanished, but if it was the young master's words, she would believe them. He advised her not to push too hard and said he trusted her. Feeling like she'd gained 100 extra strength points, Mien reached out to pet the goofy pup, who seemed to enjoy it. Juki gradually grew accustomed to Mochi, seeing the little one as small and warm, just as Mien had said. Understanding each other revealed the pup's good side, a reward for the sweet maid. That evening, Mien treated her to okonomiyaki with a special sauce, making Juki truly happy. Seeing her smile, Hito Yoshiko suggested working a little extra. She declined, but still carried the plate as if asking for more. So, extra work it was, with a lesson that sometimes selfishly enjoying your hobbies isn't wrong. Also, if she had any personal requests, she should speak up. They'd be granted as a reward for bonding with Mochi. When asked her birthday, she didn't know. Memories only showed she was born on a snowy winter night. With such a hodgepodge of a meal plan, who could afford to feed it? Taking this opportunity, he named the chubby pup Mochi. Witnessing the maid skillfully chop vegetables like a pro brought a smile to his face. However, he still had chores to do, so he asked her to play with Mochi to keep her engaged, allowing her to live more like a regular person. Hito Yoshi reassured her that the little one was very gentle, so there was nothing to worry about. Despite this, in her eyes, Mochi remained a fierce creature, as the fear hadn't been completely eradicated yet. But if the words came from her master, she would surely listen. He advised her not to push herself too hard and expressed his faith in her. Hearing this made the maid feel like she gained an extra 100 points of strength. So, she reached out to pet the goofy dog, making it wag its tail with delight, bringing a sense of joy. As Juki became accustomed to Mochi's roundness, her perception began to shift. In reality, Mochi was small and warm, just like what her master had said before. When we truly understand each other, we can see the good in one another. That evening, her master treated the adorable maid to okonomiyaki dipped in a special sauce, bringing a smile to Juki's face. Seeing her like this, Hitoyoshi suggested she have a little more. Just moments ago, she almost refused, yet her hands still carried the tray as if silently begging. So, the task was accepted once more. Sometimes, being selfish about what you love isn't wrong at all. Besides, If you have any personal requests, just say them, I'll do my best. Consider this a reward now that you've grown close to little Mochi. The young man asked when her birthday was, but she didn't know. Memories from the past only showed her origin. Born on a night when heavy snowflakes blanketed the cold winter, her name symbolized a snowflake pure and beautiful. Hito pondered quietly. Snow can sometimes be warm. Imagine a house covered in snow. Beneath those frozen crystals lie the seeds of survival through the harsh cold. One day, those seeds will bloom strong. This thought made Juki realize that living here might help her understand many things. Why does this world feel so warm? And why does Hitoyoshi make this heart tremble so deeply? Dreaming of the future ahead, the maid's smile bloomed brighter than ever. A few days later, unexpectedly, Hitoyoshi asked her maid for an ear-piercing tool. She was about to start school and wanted to show her friends a transformation she couldn't bring herself to do alone. So she asked for help. Initially, Juki planned to pierce the ear herself, but reconsidered. Her hands trembled as she asked if this was some sort of punishment game. She had no idea what mistake she'd made. Piercing the master's body was terrifying, though she often stabbed others. This felt different, but she had to let it go, especially with guests around. That guest was Riko, her adorable younger brother. He had seen photos of little Mochi sent by the young man and was curious to see for himself. But instead of the young man, it was the stunning maid who opened the door, which only excited Riko more. He stared in awe for a moment before stepping inside. The little girl scolded her brother for not telling her about the maid sooner. On top of that, the house was spotless, and the dog was simply adorable. Riko had asked about this before, but her brother never said a word. He figured if their mother found out, she'd worry endlessly. Their father had already agreed to hire a maid, seeing the family's unique situation, so a simple word was enough for approval. This left Riko wondering whether Dad trusted or just spoiled her brother. The most frustrating part? Hitoyoshi deliberately hid the truth, even though he knew how much Riko adored beauty. Juki asked about their living arrangement show. They lived apart, but little Riko couldn't bring herself to go into details, barely able to face him. This was exactly why Juki wanted to keep her adorable maid persona a secret from Riko. Hearing this, Riko playfully tortured Hitoyoshi for lying so blatantly. Then the two warmed up, Riko proudly calling herself the wise one, making Juki ask her name. She replied, Juki, the assassin player, and then spilled stories that left Hitoyoshi speechless. He forgot to tell her to keep this secret, thinking it would scare Riko, but instead, she was thrilled, seeing her sister as the coolest person alive. Riko eagerly asked for Juki's autograph in her notebook, her face glowing with excitement. Even though Juki couldn't write, she tried to sketch her name just to make Riko happy. To Riko, this assassin sister looked more like a graceful lady just sitting there radiating a deadly kind of beauty. When the signature was done, the siblings were a bit shocked since it didn't match their mental image, but since it was signed, gratitude followed. Riko praised her sister's handwriting as bold and unique. At that moment, they learned something else. Though Juki couldn't write calligraphy, her language skills were top tier. The assassin craft demanded she learn many tongues, and now she could speak 12 different languages fluently. She felt a little embarrassed about her childlike signature, but Riko found it charming, not criticizing it at all. This made Juki's heart lighten, her spirits lifted by the little sister's innocent joy. Suddenly, Riko had a bright idea as he wanted to make Juki the subject of her free research project over summer vacation. Hitoyoshi couldn't stop her, pulling his hair in exasperation, wondering what mischief she'd stir up next. When Juki was asked, she naturally agreed. After all, Riko was their master's little sister. Riko's one wish was to see the assassin instincts of this remarkable maid. Hearing this, Mini-san warned her not to write nonsense in the report she'd submit to the teacher. Riko just waved it off, cool and confident. She compared Juki to a maid with the deadly grace of a beautiful assassin. Inspired, Juki invited the siblings to the garden for a demonstration. Riko was so thrilled she became the target for Juki's throwing knife practice. Juki flipped through the air, weapons slicing cleanly through the apple perched on Riko's head. Hitoyoshi's heart raced at the sheer danger, but seeing his little sister's giddy, dazed expression, he could only sigh in disbelief. It was a moment that blended thrill with affection, the deadly assassin's precision meeting the innocent joy of a sister's admiration. Watching this, one might wonder if the line between danger and love was thinner than a knife's edge. And as the scene faded, it left a powerful question lingering in the air. In a world where blades fly and hearts beat fast, what truly defines family? Looks like everything's fine now. Riko was curious and asked how Sister Maid pulled out the knife without anyone noticing. She revealed that she hides weapons all over her clothes. Normally, she carries 16 knives, but after Hitoyoshi's constant nagging, she's down to just 5 no one tucked right at her chest, and the other 4 hidden beneath her skirt, 2 on each leg, ready to be drawn at a moment's notice. Whenever Sister Maid lifts her skirt like that, even Hitoyoshi has to step in and stop Riko from digging deeper. Besides the knives, she also wears cute accessories, like a little bell. Riko asked if being an assassin with a bell isn't inconvenient. Juki explained that when enemies hear the bell, they're already dead by the time the sound reaches them. Hearing that, Riko thought Sister Maid was even cooler and wanted to imitate her. After playing around so much, little Riko's stomach started growling. Seeing that, Mien smiled and wanted to cook something for Riko. Riko insisted Sister Maid cook, so she asked what her specialty was. The maid wasn't even sure if chopping vegetables counted as cooking anymore, but decided to show Riko anyway. After all, it was the best she could do at the moment. Cooking was mostly Mien's job, or they just bought food. After realizing an efficient way to chop veggies, Juki proudly presented a plate of fresh salad. But they couldn't let Riko eat just cabbage, so they all headed to a hamburger stand. By chance, they spotted a flyer about the summer fireworks festival starting today. Riko begged to go, and Hitoyoshi didn't object. Sister Maid told her she could enjoy her favorite rice cake with a magical sauce there. Just talking about it made Juki drool. She begged young master to let her go, and he agreed, lifting her spirits. Riko gleefully held Sister Maid's hand as they hunted for fun. First stop, a shooting gallery where Riko tried to win some plush bears but failed. Turning around, she saw Sister Maid was even worse. Truly an assassin, but strictly with knives, she had a real fear of guns. Next, they tried the fish scooping game, and Juki caught so many that the shop owner was shocked. Riko wanted to know the secret. Sister Maid explained it was all about hiding your presence and striking swiftly. She even patiently guided little Riko's hand through the motions. The shop owner, Henry, was amazed at how gentle and kind Juki was and praised her warmly, surprising even her. Later, at the rice cake stall, they found an array of sauces. They poured some on the cakes, and Juki lit up with joy. Riko had learned Sister Maid loved this particular sauce. The way Juki ate like a squirrel made Riko laugh, and Hitoyoshi was at a loss for words watching her face. Seeing Juki enjoy her food so much, the shop owner felt rewarded for his efforts and gifted her a bottle of sauce and a bag of rice cakes. Juki was ecstatic. While she ran off to buy drinks, Mien worried that if they moved away, Riko might get lost, so they stayed put and waited. But to everyone's surprise, Riko didn't return for a long time. This was Juki's first time feeling the joy of a festival outing. In the past, she had to work during festivals, but now, under the fireworks lighting the night sky, her target was logged out. Amid the festival's cheerful atmosphere lay a loneliness words couldn't capture. Hitoyoshi seemed to understand something but didn't know how to comfort her, since what had happened was already done. Just then, fireworks exploded above, stunning Sister Maid with their beauty. She hadn't realized it before. All of this joy was thanks to Mien being by her side, making her feel truly happy. At that moment, Riko returned with 3 bottles of water. They sat together, soaking in the summer festival's magic. Seeing Sister Maid smile like that made Mien feel completely smitten. Surely she was falling for her. When the fireworks show ended, the 3 held hands and headed home. Riko was thrilled she hadn't had such a fun outing with her big brother in ages and even brought home rice cakes and sauce. According to Riko's notes, Juki ate 8 rice cakes already, so she was strictly forbidden from eating more today. Juki obediently agreed, leaving Hitoyoshi baffled. He couldn't tell who was the older sister and who was the little sister anymore. Suddenly, a thief sped past on a bike, causing danger. Luckily, Juki was there, and the little sister was safe. Otherwise, she would have been the victim. Riko was carried like a princess by the beauty, feeling indescribably happy. Sadly, Juki's rice cakes and sauce got ruined. Hitoyoshi was furious, thinking people like that thief deserved punishment. Don't mess with anyone, but ruin food? That's unforgivable. Fueled by Mien's words, the assassin switched to serious mode and took a shortcut to chase the speeding thief. With the speed and skill of a seasoned assassin, she was sure to catch him. More importantly, Hitoyoshi realized that if he didn't stop her, that thief might end up dead. Meanwhile, little sister was excited to see Sister Maid teach that jerk a lesson. Big brother was speechless, thinking, how can girls be so into assassins and fights? They followed the shortcut, worried Juki might cause trouble in a crowded place. Once in position, she threw a knife that burst the thief's tire, making him crash hard. Juki approached slowly, not to kill, but to tap his head as a warning. To Hitoyoshi's surprise, she wasn't allowed to kill the guy. The police would handle the rest. Seeing Sister Maid so cheerful, the thief even bribed her to come back and buy more rice cakes as a reward for her heroics. Because of this incident, the siblings were uneasy and decided to escort little sister safely home. She put on a brave face, saying she didn't need Big Brother's protection, but admitted today was really fun and wanted to write everything in her report. Juki was also asked if she ever skipped school or homework. She just shrugged because she'd hardly had the chance to attend school properly since birth. She recounted how fun school was with friends, and Al and Rico longed for that too. The thief fell over, and the maid approached, but not to take a life. She merely tapped him on the head as a form of punishment. Hitoyoshi even stopped her from killing him, saying that this kind of matter should be left to the police. Seeing the maid so cheerful, he suggested going back to buy more rice cakes as a reward for her good deed. Because of the previous incident, both siblings felt uneasy and wanted to ensure their little sister got home safely. She acted tough, insisting she didn't need her brother's protection, but she did admit that she was having a great time and wanted to write everything down in her freedom report. Juki was also asked about her school attendance, commenting that she had never done homework before. Well, that was to be expected since she had never been to school like everyone else. Rico shared stories about her fun school days with friends, and Juki felt a longing. Worried, he wanted to escort his little sister home safely, but she acted strong, insisting she didn't need his protection. Still, he had to admit, today was truly fun enough to fill a whole report card with joy. Juki was asked if she ever skipped homework or school. She just shrugged. After all, she'd never really had the chance to attend school like others. Her little sister spoke about school being fun with friends and everything, and she longed for that experience too. Just then, Rico got a message from their mother urging him to hurry home. Today, the maid had learned so much. Hearing the little sister speak about school like it was normal made Juki want to try it herself. Suddenly, Hitoyoshi remembered she didn't even know Juki's age. If she could send her to school, maybe Juki could make friends. So, the decision was made to enroll her. Time passed, and Hitoyoshi stepped into a new school year. After the summer's upheaval, classmates whispered about a gorgeous maid in town. The shock was real. Juki had fans. Some wondered if leaving the maid at home was safe. Pretending ignorance, they were surprised when a friend said she'd met Juki at the library, praising her serious cosplay skills. Just then, the homeroom teacher entered, introducing a transfer student. Looking up, it was none other than Juki herself, the very same, who shared the family name Yokoya with the young man. Hitoyoshi was stunned, and to top it off, the teacher explained that she was the cousin. The revelation hit like a thunderclap, changing everything in an instant. The whole class was stunned, yet she even got seated right next to Tusi. With her stunning looks, everyone admired her. That young man? He hit jackpot with such a cool older sister. Seems like Rico, that mischievous girl, orchestrated this to push her brother's ship forward. She was thrilled, knowing she'd shocked men. To get into this school, Juki's achievements must be nothing short of legendary. The adorable younger girl praised her sister, saying she picked up everything so fast that after just 3 days, there was nothing left to teach her. Even better, Juki was teaching her back a true master maid in action. Hitoyoshi, realizing how happy she was to be studying like this, asked how she managed to register using his surname. Normally, paperwork and other formalities would be required, plus the biggest issue, keeping it secret from him. Juki answered every question carefully. First, regarding enrollment, she used underworld connections. The whole cousin story was actually Rico's idea, thinking it'd be easier to get her accepted if she appeared related to him, and it worked. Despite the age gap, she wanted to be in the same class as her master, so she could be near him and serve him. The secret-keeping plan until the last moment? Again, Rico's scheme. She loved teasing her brother. Hearing this, Men playfully smacked his little sister. Juki thought she'd made Men angry, but he explained he wasn't upset, just a little shocked. Still, this was good, because he now knew his maid sister secretly dreamed of a normal life. The next day, while the classmates rushed out to buy snacks, Juki asked for a regular kuta cake. Hitoyoshi was going to the convenience store when he saw her craving that treat and felt he had to indulge her. That cake was a rare prize at school, and if you didn't hurry, it would be gone. Hearing that, Juki's eyes lit up like she was about to hunt down treasure. Men explained that the other students ran at lightning speed, and if he wanted that black kuta sandwich, each one was a prized catch. The class's location far from the eatery made it impossible to compete. But Juki wasn't about to give up. She insisted on hunting that snack down. She reminded her master that even if both hunter and prey suffer wounds, the prey must be caught. Men reassured her he'd bring the cake back. Without hesitation, Juki climbed to the rooftop for a clear vantage point. Hitoyoshi wanted to stop her, worried she'd be spotted, but she didn't care. She dashed forward like the wind, unstoppable. The young master was helpless, realizing that hungry look was the same as his sweet little sister's when faced with sweets. He knew that for the sake of delicious treats, those who craved them would stop at nothing, even throwing money or tricks aside. This was a skill his sister mastered, one he couldn't match. Applying this logic to Juki meant nothing could stand between her and the prize. But then, her wish to live a normal life seemed to have taken a wrong turn. Meanwhile, the Kutagard team was also sprinting below. They were the fastest runners, always reaching the cafeteria first to claim their favorite foods. They trained endlessly. Hitoyoshi feared that at this speed, his maid sister would reveal her true nature in front of those wild classmates. She was running like a storm, unchained, nothing could slow her down. Hitoyoshi watched helplessly, knowing this wasn't just about snacks anymore. It was a fierce chase, a battle of wills where only the strongest appetite would claim victory. In this moment, the line between ordinary and extraordinary blurred, reminding us that sometimes even the smallest desires ignite the fiercest storms. But the truly successful always carve their own path. Juki didn't bother running with the crowd, she leapt straight to the front. With the killer's supreme skills, she effortlessly became the first to reach the dining hall. After fixing her graceful, delicate appearance, the little one went in to buy a pastryone of each kind. Yet, in the end, they only allowed cake or sandwiches, so Juki had to apologize. She couldn't complete the task the young master assigned. Planning to bring back his favorite dish, she was gently refused. Was fine eating anything, as long as she was happy. Juki double-checked if she could eat it all herself. Hitoyoshi agreed since he had already tasted some, and this was her prize after all. Sharing it would feel wrong. At first, he wanted to scold her for acting wildly at school, but her adorable face stopped him. Finally, Juki was happy to enjoy the treasure she loved. To double the joy, the maid even broke off a piece to feed the young master. Hitoyoshi felt shy, but since no one else was around, he opened his mouth and savored the treat. The cake was delicious, but now, touched by the hands of this beautiful girl, it became something indescribably special. That evening, the sweet little sister came over, saying she'd sleep here tonight. Hitoyoshi wasn't thrilled, but Riko scolded him, saying, "You get cozy with Juki every night, today it's my turn." Plus, the little one dreamed of having a beautiful sister like her, making this a big event, a chance to share secrets before sleep with the assassin. There were so many things to do because they were all girls. With so many sisters around, sometimes Riko imagined Hitoyoshi was the new woman in the house. Hearing this, the goofy little sister looked scared. Since learning that Juki lived here, Riko hatched a plan: get her brother married to the maid. Wouldn't that be perfect? This was the little sister's wish and desire, and she teased them, saying she could tell Juki loved her brother a lot. Hitoyoshi thought it was normal, no romantic signs from Juki, but Riko, being a girl, claimed she understood Juki's heart better. Still, Juki showed no blush or shyness when feeding Hitoyoshi the other day, which made Riko even more convinced of this love plot. She was sure the maid really loved her brother. Now, it was just a countdown until they could marry. Riko even asked how to pick wedding gifts. Hitoyoshi thought she was rushing things too much, but Riko believed their mother would agree right away. Dad, however, was a bit stubborn, just like Hitoyoshi. Riko thought a wedding blending Western and traditional styles would be perfect. Later, Juki stepped out and overheard the cousins talking about marriage. Feeling shy, Hitoyoshi kept quiet, but Riko was excited, wanting the maid to become her sister-in-law. She asked Juki if she liked her brother a lot, and Juki admitted she greatly admired the young master. Hearing this, Hitoyoshi was over the moon. Then Riko asked for a persimmon to eat, and Juki peeled it while adding a rich sauce for extra flavor. The little sister curiously asked if Juki usually didn't wear makeup since her skin was so fair and flawless. Juki modestly said she only dabbed a little foundation in the morning. Riko thought her bare face was still adorable, the dream of many girls, but for an assassin like Juki, she didn't care about that. The little sister feared growing up would bring trouble like Juki's, while she saw herself as plain and wanted to wear makeup to look beautiful. Juki said she loved Riko's expressive face, so full of life, unlike her own more uniform look. Hearing that, the little sister suddenly fell for Juki too and happily accepted the praise. Aside from their parents, few had ever complimented her, especially not her brother, who never said a word despite having such a cute sister. Riko asked if she could grow up to be like Juki. Juki replied since discovering the persimmon sauce, her skin had become smoother, and she recommended Riko eat it often. Hitoyoshi was stunned watching the sisters chat, then tried the persimmon with sauce himself. At first, he expected it to taste like watermelon with salt, but it was surprisingly delicious. The young man watching this scene thought maybe these two had truly become close sisters, enjoying a life as normal as anyone else's, all thanks to Riko. Girls really do get along better with each other. Seeing Hitoyoshi like this, the little sister guessed he was thinking about marrying Juki. The other girl didn't quite understand, and shyly asked to change the subject. But Riko refused, explaining that in Japan, when a boy turns 18, he can marry, and by then, the maid could take his surname. She thought Riko was way too forward, and Hitoyoshi didn't know how to stop her. Riko happily said it would be great to have such a beautiful wife, which of course made Hitoyoshi blush. Seeing her brother agree, Riko felt this was like a pledge between them. The next day at school, Hitoyoshi was distracted, thinking about last night, and failed to pay attention to the teacher's lecture. He was hit with chalk in the face. Juki, sitting in front, sliced the chalk in two with her knife only, doubling the young master's misery. The whole class was shocked, and the teacher nearly fainted. If Hitoyoshi reported this, he might just get expelled. Afterward, Hitoyoshi stumbled to the infirmary, worried mostly about the maid who had brought him to school. Surprisingly, Maruyama wasn't there. Instead, a new nurse named Nita was on duty. When asked what happened, Hitoyoshi explained 2 chalk pieces flew straight at his eyes. The nurse told him to lie down, which felt strange. Something about her seemed mysterious. She asked if he was the boyfriend of that beautiful girl. Ruruki said she saw them together earlier and was curious. Hitoyoshi said Juki was his cousin, which made Nita laugh like a harvest festival and flirt with him, saying she liked his cute face. They were like sisters now. To live a normal life, it's clear Riko played a big part. Girls just get each other better. Seeing Hitoyoshi like that, little one thought he was already dreaming of marrying sister Yuki. That girl still didn't grasp the situation, so she shyly asked men to change the subject. But Riko wasn't having it. She revealed that, in Japan, once you hit 18, brothers can marry and maids can take the family name. Our home always thought the little sister was way too forward. Hitoyoshi didn't know how to stop her. Then he got asked if he'd be happy to have a beautiful wife. Of course. He blushed like crazy. Seeing his brother agree, Riko treated it like a solemn vow between them. Next day at school, Hitoyoshi's head was clouded by last night's events, totally zoning out during class, which ended with Juki slicing a chalk stick in 2 right in front of him. Doubling the boss's misery, no one expected it. But Juki was too shocked to stop the flying chalk. The whole class freaked out, scaring the teacher half to death. If this got reported, he might be out of a job. Afterward, Hitoyoshi limped to the nurse's office, worried not for himself, but for his maid who'd brought him there. Today, Miss Maruyama was absent, replaced by a mysterious new nurse named Nita. When asked what happened, they learned 2 chalk pieces hit the maid in the eyes. She told Hitoyoshi to lie down, which felt strangely intimate. Instinct whispered this nurse hid secrets. She asked if he was the boyfriend of that beautiful girl. Riko mentioned she'd seen them together that morning and was curious. Hitoyoshi said she was a cousin, making Nita burst into a thrilled laugh and flirt openly. After examining Hitoyoshi's eyes, which were fine, Nita tried to pin him down in a way that sent his heart racing. Suddenly, he realized he was just tasty prey for this alluring nurse. "Your face is just too cute," she said, about to pull down his pants, but then stunning Juki burst in, breaking the door down, sensing her master was in danger. 2 powerful gazes locked eyes. Hitoyoshi cried, rushing to his maid for protection. The little nurse teased, saying she was just joking, no one was getting eaten. She compared him to a trembling hamster, herself a cute little cat teasing him. Juki asked if he thought she resembled her, but the boy stayed silent, still innocent and clueless about her true nature. The maid had to pull him close, making him feel truly loved. She warned the little nurse to stay away from men, which he took as jealousy. They left silently, both on high alert. Juki dragged her master away to another spot, apologizing profusely for hurting his eye. He thought a confession was coming, but no. She revealed the woman earlier was definitely her own kind of fellow assassin, though her purpose was unclear. In the quiet room, every joyful memory from last night with Juki replayed vividly. At her peak, Juki could block bullets before they even touched her. When the enemy tried another tactic, she destroyed their phone instantly. The battle's outcome was clear, revealing her as the 4th strongest assassin from the Longsheng Jiuzu organization ordinary foe. She stubbornly targeted Men's brother but got rocked hard, almost fatally. Luckily, Juki didn't lose focus. Nita assumed the girl came for a mission, only to find her enjoying a game of family. She was obsessed with wealth and dreamed of a life surrounded by good men on the beautiful island of Santorini. To achieve her goal, she relentlessly gathered information and executed numerous killings. At this moment, she had already secured a target. Back at Hitoyoshi's house, Juki was too worried about her young master to sleep, her gaze fixed on him as he struggled to rest, distracted by all the attention from the girls. Uncertain when the suspicious figure from school might appear, she stood guard, knowing that if she looked away, Hitoyoshi could be torn apart at any moment. Once she learned who that girl really was, Juki vowed to stay by his side forever. "I can't sleep," she complained. "Isn't there a better way?" Okay, then I'll just lie down next to you," she offered, making the young man blush hard while Juki smiled brightly. Juki joked about wanting to let the young master rest his head on her lap, but that would limit her movement if an attack came. Hitoyoshi was happy either way, unable to refuse, while Juki worried about her older sister. Hearing this, the maid brightened and blushed, assuring that if a foe dared attack, she could still fight back single-handedly. That afternoon, she'd only brought a small knife, so she was cautious, but if fully armed, she could shred enemies like paper. Juki knew the opponent wasn't foolish enough to attack her directly, so the real target would be Hitoyoshi. The maid feared this was a grudge from the past, and that her secret might have been discovered. If so, dragging the young master into danger was unbearable. Determined to keep the house safe, she admitted that fighting was her specialty, telling Hitoyoshi to rest easy and sleep soundly. To her, he wasn't just someone who gave her shelter, but a warm light in her heart. Hearing this, he felt happy, yet still worried deeply for her, feeling helpless and afraid of losing her. Just as he was about to open a window for fresh air, Juki stopped him, fearing a sniper's bullet from afar. Suddenly, a tempting scent from some kuta sauce caught her attention midnight. No one should be cooking, which meant someone was careless. Just then, Gray caught Hitoyoshi, mocking his skills for being too sloppy who lets themselves get tricked so easily. The maid's fighting style was like a cat, moving silently and gracefully. She called her opponent the White Wolf of Long Sin's 9 Sons. When Juki tried to act, Gray threatened to kill Hitoyoshi, igniting the maid's fury. With a glare sharp enough to scare the living daylights out of that girl, she asked if she was ready to endure pain worse than death for daring to touch her master. Gray, sensing the White Wolf's claws were still sharp, began to worry. Though the maid had only a small knife earlier, her true power was far greater. She was a force to be reckoned with. Juki's resolve to protect Hitoyoshi never wavered, her love and loyalty shining like a beacon. In this moment of quiet before the storm, the fragile warmth between them made you wonder, when everything falls apart, what lengths would you go to guard those you love? If you've ever felt powerless like this, take a breath and ask yourself, how did I survive my darkest nights? As tension simmered, Juki's eyes caught the scent of that mysterious sauce again, a subtle trap in the dead of night. Meanwhile, Gray's challenge loomed large. Hitoyoshi was caught in the crossfire, and the battle was just beginning. Sometimes, it's not just about strength, but the courage to stand firm when the shadows close in. Let's draw closer to that fragile heart beating amid chaos, reminding us that even in darkness there's a light worth fighting for. Juki's fight was more than a battle, it was a dance of survival against an enemy who called her the White Wolf of Long Sin's 9 Sons. Gray's threat to end Hitoyoshi's life ignited a storm of rage, a silent promise that anyone who dared threaten her master would face pain beyond death. In that fierce gaze, you could see a soul sharpened by hardship, ready to protect at all costs. If you saw yourself in her struggle, remember, sometimes the fiercest battles are fought not with weapons, but with the fire burning inside. With her skills, even if she lived another 1,000 years, she could never face Juki head-on. That's why she used Hitoyoshi as a stepping stone, hoping to find an opening to take her down. The plan was set for midnight meet at the school to rescue her heart. In reality, Juki could kill anyone anytime, but since living with Hitoyoshi, she no longer wanted to. Afraid he'd be saddened by death and unforgiving. Her master's words echoed in her mind. No matter what, Juki remains a top-tier assassin, always shadowed by the scent of death. Yet this time, she wanted change. Blaming herself for the mess men got dragged into, she resolved to kill that girl no matter what, and erase all traces here to prevent repeats. But suddenly, Main's words shifted her heart. Because only here could she be loved, free to live as she wished. Hitoyoshi didn't want to leave, so she changed her plan. Meanwhile, Gray had everything ready, aiming to catch the dragon and terrified he might soil his pants or look like a creep. He felt this suited the young man perfectly, driving him wild with frustration. Who gets caught by an assassin yet shows no fear? It was as if hero's blood ran through his veins from birth. Though his life was in enemy hands, Gray threatened, claiming he could crush his rival's heart any time. The tragedy started because Mayen's maid believed that woman brought bad luck onto Hitoyoshi. When asked if he hated or felt pain, Gray's face was blank. Saying he wasn't scared would be a lie, but he knew Juki would come to save him, so all he could do now was trust the maid. Hearing this, Gray was surprised and praised the young man braver than he seemed, maybe a hidden child of an assassin himself, since he'd even tamed Shui. But honestly, Gray wasn't interested in him. He just wanted to crush Juki with his own hands. That way, he'd earn the bounty and fame. He naively asked if calling Sui Law meant referring to his maid. The one most surprised was probably her, because Gray lived with Sui without knowing her true identity. What he did know was that Juki was the top assassin maid. To insiders like Gray, she was a monster. There are many dangerous people in this world, but none as fierce as Sui who kills without mercy or hesitation. Calling Juki a killing machine isn't an exaggeration. As for her identity, she's the 4th child of the Dragonborn 9 Sons clan, her combat strength likened to a dragon, but her title is White Wolf Shui. The Dragonborn 9 Sons is the deadliest assassin organization, gathering talents worldwide. Legend says whenever society shakes, their hand is behind it, yet their overwhelming power creates many enemies. In other words, beheading Sui would make someone famous the job and reward would soar, turning dreams into reality. Hearing this, Hitoyoshi looked at her with a tired gaze. So assassins are like that? He knew his Juki was gentle, sometimes a little naive, but adorable especially when given sauce. Even Gray had to admit this. At first he thought it was a mistake, so he watched them for 3 weeks before concluding that Juki really was the White Wolf Shui of the Dragonborn 9 Sons. The most shocking moment was when they sat in the garden discussing marriage. He almost shot them on the spot because it was so annoying. Hitoyoshi showed embarrassment, admitting that day was truly fun. Only now did she realize men was different. Who else could stay calm facing life and death and still chat nonsense with her? That's why Hitoyoshi's real story wasn't just a coward. She also had the power to melt hearts, explaining why Shui was so captivated by the young man. This gave Gray an advantage because the more love someone has, the weaker they become. In this shark-eat-shark world, no one plays by the rules. Everyone uses every trick to win. At the appointed time, Shui appeared, and the rescue began immediately. The opponent fired straight shots but was sliced in half scenes only possible in anime, yet Shui made it real. She then activated traps causing explosions at Shui's feet. She was thrilled to have disabled 2 of the White Wolf's limbs but wasn't done yet and got cut herself. Hitoyoshi worried for his maid. The opponent played dirty. He assured his master all would be fine. The girl was furious that they could still talk mid-fight, meaning they didn't respect her. She verbally attacked Juki, accusing her of hiding her identity, probably out of guilt for being the youngest Dragonborn to earn that title. She didn't know how many lives were lost to get there. If her identity was exposed, enemies everywhere would come after her, ending the family game with men. Juki remained calm, wanting to end things quickly so Hitoyoshi could rest the Had School the next day. The Black Cat was furious her opponent didn't respect her at all. The maid imagined a happy family scene while the enemy resorted to threats, aiming heavy sniper fire at Hitoyoshi's limbs. Shui was frozen, unable to move, but before the shot, she dashed at terrifying speed to close in. The move was surprising, unplanned. Though startled, Gray activated his sniper rifle. Shui didn't care about Hitoyoshi's life. She wasn't confident that her top skills could block the bullet before it reached him. Panicked, the enemy tried another method but ended up destroying their own phone. The outcome was clear, revealing the assassin as one of the strongest from the Dragonborn 9 Sons' 4th rank. She wasn't ordinary. She stubbornly targeted the young man and got slammed, flying off nearly dead. Right on time, Zuki arrived and immediately began the rescue mission. Her opponent fired straight at her but was cut in half instead. This scene felt like something out of a movie, yet Zuki made it a reality. Ray activated a trap, causing an explosion right at the enemy's feet, feeling joyous as she incapacitated 2 limbs of the White Wolf. However, she was quickly struck down, but fortunately, she managed to protect Hitoyoshi, who was worried for her safety. The maid reassured her master to stay calm, everything would work out. Hearing this, the enemy seethed with anger. During their fight, she could still engage in conversation, as if dismissing her opponent entirely. She lashed out verbally, accusing Juki of hiding her identity, likely out of guilt. After all, she was the youngest Longsu, a title earned at the cost of countless lives. If her true identity was revealed, enemies would swarm her. The game of family with the maid seemed to be coming to an end. Juki remained calm, wanting to resolve things quickly so Hitoyoshi could rest for school the next day. Hearing this, the Black Cat was furious, feeling disrespected in the midst of battle. The maid envisioned a happy family scene, yet the enemy resorted to threats. She activated a heavy sniper rifle from afar, aiming straight at Hitoyoshi's limbs. Zuki was ordered to remain still, but before she could finish her sentence, the maid launched herself towards them with terrifying speed. It was an unexpected move that caught everyone off guard. Though startled, Rei managed to activate her targeting system, believing Zuki cared little for Hitoyoshi's life. But it wasn't that she was confident in her own skills to intercept the bullet before it reached him. Ignoring the enemy's harsh words about herself, Gray knew escaping the assassin's shadow was impossible. No matter what, she'd always be the Schwer and her kind would come hunting. They aimed to build their reputation by targeting Juki. When asked if she'd kill them all, the maid admitted she was once a killer who believed murder was the only way to live. But now, things had changed. She vowed never to kill or let anyone die because of her. No matter what happened, she wanted to protect the normal life men gave her. This was a far cry from what Gray had heard about Shui, a supreme assassin who chases prey to hell and back. Gray realized if she wanted Juki dead, she'd be long gone already. Hitoyoshi was happily saved and taken home by the beautiful maid. He felt lucky to survive, thinking those two were truly fascinating. On the way back, he acted like he was fine, fully trusting Juki's skills. She felt sorry for putting him through so much, apologizing endlessly, and even offering to disappear if he wanted, as if nothing had happened. Hearing this, he grabbed her hand, promising next time he'd learn martial arts to protect himself, and pulled his big sister along. The moment moved her deeply. Days later, Juki started fitting into school life, becoming the center of attention. Girls adored her. Boys were mesmerized by her mature beauty. Sitting alone, Hitoyoshi marveled, thinking if his maid got serious, these guys didn't stand a chance. The assassination attempts on the maid, however, were the opposite of what they seemed. Hitoyoshi had no idea the shadowy cat assassin who kidnapped him the night before was actually Grey, her disguise flawless. This was her true self. She announced she'd become the gym teacher and play the cousin role for men, just arrived in Tokyo. Just then, a balloon flew straight toward Hitoyoshi, but was blocked by Grey. After her nurse disguise the day before, she had transformed herself into a gym teacher to get closer to him. Though her intentions this time weren't harmful, it still caused trouble for the young man who already had one maid to handle. Now another woman claiming kinship with Hitoyoshi appeared, pushing into their lives. She acted overly familiar with the student, forcing him to insist she keep proper boundaries befitting a teacher. Back to this morning, the pair met their rival from the day before at school. Initially, they thought she hadn't given up on assassinating the maid sister, but the truth was the opposite. Hitoyoshi didn't even realize this was the Midnight Cat assassin from the previous kidnapping, thanks to Grey's masterful disguise. Now, this was her true form. She declared she would become the gym teacher and also play the role of Men's cousin who had just arrived in Tokyo. She explained her specialty was gathering information, while Juki only knew how to wield a knife. If they teamed up, things could get interesting. This woman was utterly fascinated by such alliances. After seeing how Hitoyoshi tamed Bai Lang Shui the night before, she admired him deeply. How could a legendary assassin listen to a nobody? Even more, she vowed not to kill anymore. Grey promised to give up hunting the girl because she simply couldn't catch her. Thus, a pact between the two assassins was formed. They would leave the couple alone and even supply her favorite kutadu cakes for 3 months. The deal was so bizarre it made everyone laugh, yet the sister agreed immediately. Explaining this, she revealed her specialty was gathering intel, while Juki only knew how to wield a knife. Together, they'd make a thrilling team. After witnessing how Hitoyoshi tamed the white wolf Shui, Grey admired him deeply. Who'd expect a legendary assassin to listen to a nobody? She even declared she'd stop killing, which shocked everyone. Grey promised to quit hunting her friend since she couldn't catch him anyway. A truce between two assassins was formed, agreeing not to interfere with the couple and even promising to supply men's favorite kutadu cakes for 3 months. The plan was wild and surprisingly, Juki agreed right away. Hitoyoshi asked if it was okay, then he saw his maid drooling and realized why she accepted: endless cake. In the assassin world, no one's dumb enough to make reckless deals once they realize they can't win. Grey knew harming Hitoyoshi wouldn't benefit anyone, and even if trouble arose, she'd come to save him just like last time. Juki bluntly said that no matter how many others joined him, Hitoyoshi's strength was no problem. Grey, nicknamed Shrimp, was frustrated but accepted it. This wild, hilarious pact between deadly assassins and a clueless boy just added another layer to their chaotic yet strangely heartwarming story. But when people speak the truth so plainly, what can you do? She said from now on, she'd quietly watch the two of them, satisfying her curiosity. That's why the beautiful teacher leans on Hitoyoshi's broad shoulders like that. In reality, she doesn't like physical education, but this is the only position allowed to slack off, so she chose to be the homeroom teacher of Mei-en's class to keep a close eye on him. It was confusing at first, Grey said. He'd quietly observe, but then kept chatting with me like this, acting like friends, even teasing Juki sometimes to make that girl jealous. When she saw her master being toyed with, she smashed the sticky ball against the wall to put the whole class on notice. Everyone froze, and even the teacher dared not approach Hitoyoshi anymore. Luckily, the girls were innocent and excited that their friend could smash a ball straight through the net. Even the maid joined the club, making Grey chuckle. In class, there's a lazy student who surprisingly pays close attention to details. When a friend's shoelace came undone, she was about to remind them, but the sharp perception of a sniper helped her notice and tie it back herself. Now, the maid feels a bit embarrassed for showing off some strength earlier, but Hitoyoshi defended her, saying it wasn't her fault, she was just teasing me. When asked how the sister felt, she wasn't sure. Even though Grey was no longer an enemy, seeing him close to that woman made her want to hit him. Her mind was fuzzy, unwilling to share Hitoyoshi with anyone in the underground world besides herself. He understood it was jealousy and reassured her it was a normal human feeling, so she shouldn't worry. Hearing that, the supermaid was happy, which only made the master's heart ache because she was just too adorable. The next day, they spent some time together when not at school. Bai Lang Shui returned to his role as the cute maid, cleaning and helping around the house with Main's chores more smoothly now, so Hitoyoshi didn't have to worry. Before, she did everything by hand, so seeing the washing machine make clothes spotless made her happy. It was so much easier, and the clothes smelled fresh and soft. The maid even proudly showed off to the sleepy master, waking him up for good. He recalled last month, when Juki was still clueless and kept messing up, like putting dish soap into the washing machine, causing bubbles to flood the house. But after countless failures, the supermaid had grown smarter and finally conquered laundry, which made men quietly happy. He praised this as a major step forward for her. Her eyes lit up brightly, and her chubby lips smiled joyfully, though secretly she was just asking for food. After feeding the little pig, Hitoyoshi planned to buy something for dinner. The fridge only had cabbage left, so she asked Juki what she wanted to eat with it to plan the menu. Instantly, the maid thought of chopping the cabbage to eat with tonkatsu and katsu sauce as usual. Men spoiled her, so he took her by the hand to the shop. They were regulars, so the kind owners packed some tonkatsu to take home. Though old and frail, their love for their craft shone through. They asked who the beautiful girl was, since she looked unfamiliar. Juki felt like she'd found paradise and was extremely excited because this was the place that made the legendary katsu sauce. Seeing the maid like this reminded Hitoyoshi of his pastau. Every time he saw something he loved, his spirit soared. Of course, that's normal for humans. Meanwhile, old Kuta was preparing to slice meat for them, hands trembling due to age, the killer's fatal weakness. But somehow every cut was precise and professional. For someone that old to slice so perfectly was no ordinary feat. According to Juki, this wasn't any old person, but likely a retired legendary assassin. Hearing that, Men was speechless, thinking his sister was imagining things. By the way, he told Mrs. Fu that his girl loved her sauce, which made her happy. The beautiful girl was considered a deity for creating such a magical dipping sauce. Hitoyoshi also praised the couple's fried food, always fragrant, crispy, and flawless. The one most grateful was the maid, who had never known taste before. She only saw food as fuel, not to savor. But after her first taste of that divine sauce, her taste buds revived, and her soul felt transformed. For her, that katsu sauce was vital. Each taste warmed her heart. Simply put, it was pure happiness beyond words. Hearing this, the old lady was glad for the sweet girl, and explained that maybe Juki's heart had already felt warmth before, allowing her to recognize the sauce's deliciousness. This reminded Hitoyoshi of the love he created at their very first meal together. His warmth had enhanced the flavor. As emotions swelled, suddenly she was startled by the owner's hand on her shoulder, a near impossible move for a top assassin, making her even more certain old Kuta was a legend. The couple also invited Juki to try their new sauce recipe. Hearing this, the maid turned into an obedient puppy, slowly tasting it. At her first sip, she was blown away by the incredible flavor. That night, this pair enjoyed a joyful meal. Men were sent to rest first, leaving the dishes to be washed. Lying back and reflecting on past events, he marveled at how unbelievable it was that this adorable maid was once an assassin. He wanted to ask her about her organization but feared causing trouble. Thankfully, she didn't want to talk about it, so he let it go. Suddenly, memories of his mother leaving home surfaced. Back then, Riko followed their mother, while Men stayed with their father. Though divorced, she said her son could visit any time. Still, being apart for a time was painful. Just then, after waking up, the young man found himself holding Juki. The beautiful maid was worried because he kept crying in his sleep. He wasn't fully awake yet, but when he touched something soft against his chest, he sprang up and apologized to her, saying he had a strange dream. She reassured him it was okay and wanted to help him sleep well again, asking him to rest on her lap like before. The crisp crunch left no room for complaint. The one most grateful must be the maid. She had never truly known flavor before, treating food as mere fuel, not something to savor. But from the very first taste of that divine sauce, her senses awakened, and her whole soul seemed transformed. For her, that Kuta sauce wasn't just seasoning, it was a warm embrace that made her heart glow with happiness she couldn't put into words. Hearing this, the old woman smiled warmly for the adorable girl, explaining that perhaps Juki's heart was already warmed from within, allowing her to recognize the sauce's true magic. It echoed the love Hitoyoshi had kindled during their very first meal together. It was his warmth that amplified every flavor, turning a simple bite into a flood of emotions. As feelings swelled inside her, suddenly the master's hand tapped her shoulder, startling her something almost impossible for a top-tier assassin. This only cemented her belief that Mr. Kuta was indeed a living legend. At that moment, the couple invited Juki to sample their new sauce recipe. Suddenly, the maid transformed into an obedient puppy, slowly savoring the first taste and declaring it terrifyingly delicious. That night, the trio shared a joyful meal. Juki was sent off to rest while the others handled the dishes, letting her relax in her chair. Reflecting on everything, she marveled how unbelievable it was that this sweet maid had once been a deadly assassin. She longed to ask about her former organization, but feared causing trouble. Thankfully, Juki chose to keep that part of her past silent. Then memories of her mother leaving home surfaced. Back then, Riko went with their mother, while Juki followed their father. Though separated, her mother had said her son could visit any time. Even knowing this, the parting left her heart heavy. Suddenly, waking up, the young man found himself holding Juki. The beautiful maid looked worried, seeing him crying in his sleep. He wasn't fully awake yet, but when he felt something soft against his chest, he jumped up and apologized to the maid, confessing he'd had a strange dream. But she reassured him it was okay, and still wanted to help him sleep peacefully, asking him to rest his head on her lap like before. Juki accidentally discovered that the young master was searching online for info about Ryusei Kuju. She asked if he wanted to know more about her, but was too shy to say it outright. Juki admitted she didn't know much about the organization herself. Her master had only ever told her to attack when commanded. She hadn't cared much about which faction she belonged to, and had only met other members a few times, without even knowing their names. So it wasn't that Juki didn't want to share her past, it was simply that there wasn't much to tell. Back then, everything was different. Now, her only desire was to survive, ignoring everything else. Her greatest worry was failing her master and losing her place. This fear kept her from adjusting to the human world she now lived in. The chirping birds, the morning sunlight, all felt so strange she sometimes thought she was dreaming. The maid wished for the day she could truly belong to this life, becoming an ordinary person just like Hitoyoshi hoped for. Thinking of this made Juki happy, and the young man too. Every morning, waking to see her reassured him and made him grateful she had chosen this home, despite all the hardships they'd faced. After sharing these feelings, he suddenly felt like he was confessing his heart, making him shy around his extraordinary maid. If you've ever felt caught between two worlds, unsure where you belong, remember Juki's journey, a testament to hope, warmth, and finding family in unexpected places. And if you're lost between choices in life, may this story remind you, even a small light can guide the way. Thanks for experiencing this journey with me. Juki then revealed why she wanted him to rest his head on her lap, a simple wish to feel useful to Hitoyoshi. From now on, if nightmares came, the young master could always find solace there. Hearing this, Min felt a deep peace settle in, as if Juki had stepped into the role of a mother. A few days later, while shopping alone, the maid noticed everyone's curious stares. It was because of her cute face and the outfit straight out of a movie. A little girl ran up to chat, confessing her admiration for the maid's costume and her desire to be just like her. Juki's heart warmed at this innocent praise. The girl even asked where she got the outfit, since normal people never wore such clothes, a remark that struck at the core of someone desperately wanting to be normal. Wondering if Hitoyoshi was nearby, Juki decided to pick up her future bride. The girl asked if wearing a maid outfit was really that unusual, something she hadn't realized before. The very next day, Hitoyoshi dedicated a whole day to shopping for new clothes for his sister. Unexpectedly, Riko and Gray showed up too. After a text invite, they decided to join the shopping trip together. What puzzled everyone was why that girl stood alongside them. It turned out Gray had overheard the couple's conversation at home and was curious enough to follow along. Hitoyoshi strictly forbade eavesdropping, but Gray still hid a listening device at their place. The maid apologized, thinking she'd destroyed all such gadgets, but one was still hidden in the living room. She claimed she needed help picking out clothes for her daughter, naturally needing support. Hitoyoshi found this crew a bit unsettling, but since they showed up, he reluctantly let them tag along. Riko was surprised to discover his beautiful sister was a skilled assassin. Gray adored the little girl and showered her with affection, quickly bonding. The maid found her adorable, reminding her of her brother, and so she grew fond of her. Curiously, despite having two siblings, no one seemed afraid of assassins in this family. Later, they arrived at the store Riko recommended, expecting a normal shopping trip only to be led straight to another maid outfit section. The new costumes looked nice, but didn't suit as well as the old one. Hitoyoshi was at a loss, unable to stop his sister's fashion obsession. Juki criticized the new one for being less flexible, though it was undeniably cute. Riko decided to buy it as a gift for Gray, who playfully dragged them to another area filled with flashy, risque outfits. They all agreed those would be deadly to wear out in public, so they passed. Juki wondered why, if she'd left the assassin life behind, she still kept weapons. Her sister just smiled and said she felt safer with a blade nearby. Well, some habits die hard. What reminder, he just told those two to stop messing around. Next, they headed to the fashion store, where the supermodel-like Maid tried on outfits that fit her perfectly, especially the swimsuit that revealed every curve, stirring discomfort in grey. Riko thought, "She looks like a runway queen." When asked what style she preferred, Men chose a white dress, simple, not flashy, yet exquisitely elegant. Hearing that, the younger girl felt a pang of jealousy. Men answered instantly as if she'd rehearsed it in her mind beforehand. After wrestling with choices all afternoon, they settled on a few sets. Instead of picking, Men decided to buy everything Juki tried on to save time. Their family's wealth made shopping a breeze, barely denting their pockets. They also took the chance to pick out Halloween costumes for the girls, with Riko excitedly wanting to find an outfit for the boys' celebration. Men was surprised. "You're dressing up this year too." She learned their mother eagerly awaited this day. So everyone chose their Halloween attire, delighting the young mistress, and the maid shared in her joy. Hitoyoshi happened to spot a horror movie playing nearby and invited them along. He loved that genre, but the maid never watched film. Cinema was more like a battlefield. She left quickly, claiming it was too scary. Hitoyoshi tried to appear tough, acting like it was no big deal. Later, 4 of them watched together. 3 enjoyed it while 1 crashed out. During a gruesome zombie scene, Juki suddenly looked terrified, revealing a secret fear they hadn't known before. She was deeply afraid of zombies, which puzzled Riko. Given her skills, Riko assumed Juki could easily dispatch zombies. But she explained her fear stemmed from the foul stench of decaying corpses and the horror that zombies were dead but still walking, refusing to die again. Men found her fear almost innocent, but understandable. After all, Juki had never faced the undead before. In reality, those creatures didn't exist. "It's just a story," she reassured her. Riko laughed at the ironia. Top assassin scared of zombies was definitely unusual. On their way home, Hitoyoshi bought cakes for the kids, making Riko happy. She let Juki try some too, who agreed it was delicious. Gray tried to feed some to the young man, but he refused. Their friendly outing caught the eyes of a burly man who warned Naka about relaxing too much, reminding the family's assassin to stay vigilant. Naka appreciated Sue's training efforts. Meanwhile, the others seemed to be under watch too. They arranged to hang out again soon, with Gray warmly agreeing any time. Men had to say goodbye early, heading home in a different direction, while Men escorted her sister back. Juki returned to prepare dinner, but suddenly felt someone watching her. Staring at her reflection, she looked sad, unable to believe how far she'd come. Memories flooded back the maid outfit she used to wear, a gift from her late master, the man who once gave her hope. Now, wearing it again stirred bittersweet emotions, as she struggled between holding on and chasing new dreams. As rain threatened outside, Juki prepared for the storm, worried Hitoyoshi might get wet. Mochi, their lively dog, was restless, craving playtime since the couple had left early. The wet bone on the floor was soaked with drool. Hitoyoshi hadn't returned yet, and Juki hesitated about washing Mochi's toys but chose to clean them anyway. Dirty toys mean sickness. Mochi understood and took her favorite cloth elsewhere to avoid washing it outside. On her way back, Men noticed thunder and worried about her sister. Suddenly, the power cut out. The eerie sounds outside triggered the maid's memories of horror scenes. Mochi tried to hide the precious cloth but got it stuck on the wall, ruining it. Then, the dog knocked over a pot, making a scary noise that startled Juki. Despite being a fierce assassin, she was still human too afraid to open the door and face a zombie ambush. After a moment, driven by concern for Mochi, she bravely grabbed a knife to rescue her. But Mochi simply dragged the soaked rag outside, giving Juki a fright. Returning, she found the cloth torn to pieces, which crushed the little dog's spirit. The maid had to explain everything to the young man, who guessed trouble was inevitable and wasn't surprised. Juki comforted Mochi, promising to fix the toy soon. Seeing the damage, Men worried about mending such a treasured item but admired Juki's determination. This was priceless to the dog. Hitoyoshi asked why Juki wore the maid outfit, assuming she disliked the other clothes. But she said shopping and choosing with everyone was happiness itself. The outfit was a precious gift from her late master, who had been both her employer and assassin mentor. Though he had passed, she honored his memory by wearing it, the only link left between them. Before dying, he encouraged her to abandon killing and live a normal life. Back then, Juki hadn't fully understood and served him as an assassin to the end. Meeting Men changed everything, bringing clarity. That's why she cherished her master even more and wore the maid dress to forever remember him. It was also why she could stay here. Though the outfit wasn't ordinary, she wanted to wear it until it wore out. When Hitoyoshi asked if that was strange, he thought her wish was perfectly normal. Even a powerful assassin could fear zombies. That was just life's quirks. He noticed she cared about Gray's words, affirming it was okay to want normalcy, to wear what she loved, and fear unreal monsters. Everyone has their own fears, that doesn't make them odd. She was truly scared, but being human, she hesitated to open the door, fearing a zombie ambush. After worrying about her puppy being devoured, she finally gathered her courage, armed with a knife, ready to save the day. Unexpectedly, her dog brought back a soggy towel, sending a chill down her spine. When she returned, she found the little pup's precious cloth shredded into pieces, leaving it heartbroken, prompting the maid to recount the ordeal. In summary, the young man guessed that something was bound to happen, so he wasn't surprised. Juki had to comfort Mochi, promising to mend the torn item. Seeing it in tatters made her question if it could even be repaired. Determined, Mochi knew this was a cherished possession for her puppy. Aside from this, Hitoyoshi asked why she was dressed as a maid, thinking her sister disliked such attire. Yet, simply going shopping and picking out clothes with everyone today was pure joy. She just couldn't part with this gift. She shared how she once served her master as both an assassin and a maid, revealing that the outfit she wore was a precious gift from her late master. Even after his passing, she held deep respect for him, and this maid's outfit was the only connection they had left. Before he died, he encouraged her to leave behind a life of killing and live like a normal person. Back then, Juki didn't fully grasp the meaning of those words, serving her master as an assassin until the end. It was only upon meeting him that clarity began to dawn. The only bond that tied them before his loss was his support for Shue, urging him to abandon the path of bloodshed and live like a normal man. Back then, Juki hadn't fully grasped the weight of those words, serving his master faithfully as an assassin until the end. It wasn't until meeting Men that everything began to unravel, and his respect for that noble soul only grew deeper. That's why he dons this maid outfit, to keep the memory alive, to hold on to what remains. This also became the reason why he stayed here. Even if the attire isn't ordinary, he wishes to wear it until it falls apart. Hitoyoshi asked if such a wish seemed too strange, but he found it perfectly natural. After all, isn't it absurd for an assassin like her to fear zombies? Noticing her concern over Gray's words, he reassured her that there's nothing odd about it at all. Wearing what you love when you want, that's what makes someone human. Even fearing something that doesn't exist in this world is normal. Everyone harbors their own fears. He taught her about emotions, showing her that her dream to be ordinary could be fulfilled in her own way, without rigid rules. Hearing this, Juki's heart lit up with joy, especially with little Mochi's support. Excited for dinner, Juki completely forgot about the scarf incident and dashed off in a frenzy. Men realized the ragged blanket was the very thing the puppy had been left with at home. Perhaps it had been with him since he was a pup. Hitoyoshi believed the scarf was the link to Mochi's parents, which is why he refused to let anyone wash it. Juki's determination to restore that cherished item only grew stronger. Before dinner, Juki confessed she now understood a bit of Mochi's feelings, as she herself never wanted to part with her maid outfit. Even the small bell tied atop